All right, good morning. Day 7, Pamela's back in business, and we're gonna move precisely through all of these arm balances to consolidate as much of the work so you're not exhausting yourself halfway through as precisely as possible. And my hope is that we're able to do it a little bit slower. You might not be able to come into every single thing today, but you might also be surprised. You might be faltering in something like crow, but then get to peacock and be able to lift miraculously. So don't think about anything. Let's just move through it today. And whatever happens is perfect. You know, you have access to these videos forever and ever, whenever it's convenient for you. And you know, you can start to sprinkle some of this into your practice from now to the end of time. So no stress. Let's have a little bit of fun today, and we'll get started on our backs. So setting up in a little bit of happy baby, trying to relax your body, right? We gotta be a little loose, limber to get into some of these postures. And yeah, we can stretch, squeeze, but one of the best ways to kind of loosen up the body is to drain out some of the stress. So use exhales to sink. Soften up the jaw, your brow. You know, if it feels good to take a little bit of straddle stretch here, particularly if you are tight in your groin or your hamstrings when you try to get into something like Titibhasana, then definitely go for the straddle, maybe a little side to side, but just another 3 breaths. Now feel your toes. Let your mind wander the length of your spine. Right, remember we're starting to find that connected consciousness, not so much isolated in the brain anymore, but starting to follow sensation, starting to follow the breath as you bring your knees over the hips. We're going to plant your feet. We'll take a wide-legged supine twist. So you want to make sure your feet feel the edges of your mat. Both knees are going to fall to the right. Arms, gaze goes wherever it's comfortable. And mostly you're going to let gravity take over, which is harder than it sounds, right? Doing less is somehow harder than working harder and harder and adding more and more. So this is one option. If it feels okay, you might decide to hook your right heel over the left knee. 3. Again, it's all pretty much gravity. You don't have to force yourself into this particular variation of it. You want to feel for yourself which one is working better, right? More is not necessarily better. So filling up a little bit on the breath, letting your rib cage expand. Maybe you're doing some belly breathing. A lot of core work coming, so maybe it feels good not to be so engaged or constricted. But as you gently release, we'll come through center. Again, make sure you feel the edges of your mat, and then we'll let the knees fall. You will feel a little bit of muscular stretch, maybe through your quad. Could be closer to the knee joint or the hip joint, hip flexors. But really this is a stretch for the attachments in the hips. So you don't want to actually facilitate any more muscular stretch. You just want to let gravity do the trick. It's the rotation of your femur head, right? Your leg bone moving into your hip joint. Those attachments don't stretch like muscle, so please, oh please, don't try to make them. You could stay here, or you could hook the heel. Maybe you start to wiggle the toes, give them a little flex. You're just starting to notice all the regular things, where you're tight, where you're sore, where you're holding on for dear life, perhaps. Because this is still your yoga practice. And so maybe today you're doing more of a moving meditation. You don't have to physically move. You can lay in Shavasana. Listen to the short class and do all of these things in your mind. Right? Like pro athletes, any number of people, right? We practice in our mind so that by the time you actually do it, maybe it's, 10 times easier. Or you're just thinking a little bit less so there's room to focus on what you're actually doing. Either way, you're going to come through center. Tuck your knees, and we're going to rock and roll through seated. As you cross your legs and come towards tabletop, you're going to draw your right knee up your mat, and we'll set up for half pigeon. Knees in line with your hips, wherever's comfortable on your heel, just 8, 7. Remember, you can always set this up on your back, Or maybe you set up regular half pigeon, but you're a little bit lifted. That'll give you less flexion in the hip. But it is the flexion in the hip that we're looking for. So maybe if this doesn't work for you, take the time to do it on your back. You can lace your arms through and kind of tuck either the back of your thigh or the front of your shin towards you. For 3, right, putting in the back of your mind that figure 4 balance. 2. And then finding your palms, curling your back toes, we're going to lift right into 3-legged dog. So you're going to kick that right foot up and back, peel open, 3-ish, whatever feels good. Roll at ankles, maybe you're doing a little bit of kung fu, circles in the sky. Just take a generous breath to reach, and as you exhale, rinse knee towards nose, we're going to step into low lunge. We're going to stay nice and low, so you get the ball of your back foot, you can shimmy front to back, hips can sink a little, lift a little, you want to keep this buoyancy. So slow yourself down. We're going to take the right elbow and hook it underneath the back of your hamstring. Remember, your leg's not over your shoulder, not over your head, just on the back of your elbow. Fan the fingers. We're going to go for that low plank in a moment, but keep that back leg lifted and strong. Uchi your front foot out, little by little. We're going to start to bend the elbows and bring your face towards the ground. Way down. Left elbow hugs the rib cage. One more hop-a-doodle. Nice. And come slowly back to lunge. We're going to step right into Malasana. Heels and toes out with some buoyancy, right? You want to sink the biscuit, so we're reaching the arms. Elbows on the tops of knees somewhere so that as you reach arms out, fan those little fingers, squeeze the wrists, press forward off the balls of your feet, and make sure you're gazing up the mat. Play with balance. It's not about getting in quickly. Maybe lift 1 toe, 2 toes, come gently back. Lift your hips through your forward fold. You're going to drop your head and then inhale to lengthen. Yeah, big reach, maybe up and back, side to side. And then go ahead and breathe it all the way down to forward fold. As you inhale to a flat back, we'll step back, high plank, left knee comes up your mat, half pigeon. Yeah, 8, 7. Just a little dabble do you, right? We're trying to get through this short but very packed class without expending too much energy. Ideally, you walk out of here feeling a little more energized, a little bit energized. Sometimes exhausted is good, but if you're just starting out your day, you want to be, on the upswing. If you're going to bed, maybe exhausted is the way to go. Maybe you'd take this class a couple times today. All right, slowly, you're going to curl your toes, 3-legged dog. Go ahead and kick up and back. Take anything you need here. All right, maybe you're peeling the shoulders open. Try to slow it down. Feel your way into some deep stretch. And we'll breathe your knee towards your nose, stepping into low lunge. All right, take a moment to shimmy off the ball of your back foot. Make sure you got enough stretch happening, right? You can always press pause or just be a little bit behind, catch up when you need. We're gonna lace the left elbow under. Fan the fingers, squeeze the wrists. Back leg stays lifted and strong. You squeeze that back leg as you uchi your front foot out. Maybe at an angle. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. As you start to bend your elbows, face comes nearly to the mat. Right elbow tucks into the side body, and that back leg has got a kick. Just go for it. Squeeze those buns of steel. Lift one more breath, and gently come back awkwardly through the low lunge. We're going to step right into your squat, Malasana. But this time we're going to set up your duck. Remember, it's just like crow, except for you got to lean way forward so that you can get your forearms, like dolphin, on the mat, elbows in line with the shoulders. Make sure wrists are in line with elbows and shoulders as well. You're going to look up your mat. You're scrunching into a little bit of ball. Press off the toes to come forward. Lift them if you have it. It's that deep Uddiyana Bandha. Hip hinge, lift one more breath, and come back through Malasana. Just enough room. Drop palms, lift your bum for 2. As you come rolling all the way up to standing, we're going to set up Utkatasana. So side crow, right? A little prayer palm action. We're going to set up the twist. You want to be able to hook the elbow on the outside of your knee. This is a little scary because you got to lean forward and lean over, but you're closer than it feels, so go for it. Fingers face up, same as toes. You got a deep bend in the elbows. Let your face come almost to the mat again. If your face comes down, your butt lifts up, and as you lean over, your toes will start to lift. Nice job. Come all the way up to standing, and we'll take it on the other side. So I'm going to have you just turn to face the camera. The other side might be even worse, or maybe even better. We're not sure yet till we get there. So Utkatasana twist, right? Hook the elbow, get the palms down. Let yourself take those low plank elbows. That's how you bring your face down. It's how you lift your butt. That is the secret. It's a little scary, but go for it. If the feet lift, great. Awesome. And then forward fold. You're going to come to a flat back. This time, pause. We're going to step the right foot back, crescent lunge. And we'll set up the twist on the other side. So prayer palms, we'll do it both sides, so no stress. Prayer palms to heart center. Again, hook the elbow for the little twist. Back leg has to stay lifted. That's the strength point. Palms come down. Again, bending elbows to bring your face to the mat as you press off the ball of your back foot, and you just got to go for it. Kick that leg, squeeze the biscuits. And then don't forget to get a breath in. Yeah, and then come on out. Prasrita. So we're going to take that wide-legged forward fold, so you can turn the face of the camera there. And we're going to slow down for a moment. So toes in, heels out. Again, take a moment to stretch just a little. Get yourself situated. Let the breath come back. And then we're going to start to sink into that Malasana squat here. So we are working towards Titibhasana. You want to be able to hook the elbows underneath the thighs, somewhere on the hamstring. You might not be able to get the palms all the way down, so you're going to keep the work in the legs so that you can lean a little over to one side, walk the toes out a little diagonal. Once you're able to get the one palm down, do the same thing on the other side. All right. Once you're there, again, look up your mat. Extend those strong legs and breathe 3. 87. And then slowly come on up. Prasrita. And then we'll turn to take crescent lunge version on the other side. Yeah. Actually, turn this way, Pramila, if you don't mind. So right foot forward, yeah. You can see the other side. So again, we'll only do this once. So again, let the breath come back. There's no rush to get here. You're going to set up that prayer palm twist, hook and elbow. Drop the palms, fingers face up. Right? You got a free elbow hanging on out in the wind there. It's all about pressing forward off the ball of your back foot. Face comes towards the ground. And we're going to lift. Yeah, one more. Boop. It's all about the boop. Nice job. And then we're going to come into figure 4, so you can come all the way up to standing. So remember, there's 2 options. Pramila is going to demo the one with both elbows at the shin, and then I will set up for you the twisted hummingbird. So you get the one-legged sage, which is pretty much the name for half of the poses, but some sage got the bonus points. Here we go. Again, slowly. Figure 4. You're going to face this way, so you get the little side version. You're going to hang out for a 3-ish. Want to make sure you can flex your toes. Want to make sure you can hinge. In Pamila's case, enough so you can get both elbows on to your forearm or your shin, whatever that is. For this version, you need to be able to hook the elbow, just like we've done a couple times now. Plant the palms. And again, you have to bend the elbows. That's what gets the face down, the bum up. 2. And then slowly come out. Okay. We'll do that one more time in case you want to try the other option. Or if you're sticking with the same version Pamela did, you can drop your head gently to your mat and then extend that leg behind you. I suggest you reach it towards the sky first. It's easier to balance reaching behind you as you lift your head. So one more time. Whether you're doing the same side or the other side, figure 4. Flex those toes. It's like half of the pose. Find the breath. Squeeze the belly. Palms come down. And you gotta bend the elbows. Scariest part, but it's how it all works. And then break dance out of it. Nice job. And then we're gonna come on to your mat for a little bit of peacock. So it's kind of levitating. Here we go. So again, no rush to get there. We're just going to move through it. You're going to set up tabletop for a moment and have Pamela just turn her fingers to face her knees. So you get a little wrist stretch. Remember, you can control the stretch by moving your torso a little forward or behind you. Keeping in mind that you can take peacock, which is where your fingers face your toes, or you can be working with Hamasana, which is swan. Fingers are facing up the mat. Today we're going to demo and use the peacock, and if all goes well, maybe a little feathered peacock. You never know till you get there, right? Best laid plans or expectations especially never really go as we think. So no expectations. And let yourself destroy these, okay? They're not always going to be magazine worthy. But you only get there with all the hot mess. So as you set up your peacock, most of us are turning your fingers to face your knees. You're going to drag your right knee way past the hand. That's going to allow you to hook the right elbow. Back leg stays lifted, head comes down, that's room to get the left elbow under, and then Pamela's going to start to bobble. And just play with the bobble. Don't worry about extending. If you want to extend, you got to press yourself a little forward, and if you want to come up, you got to smooch your mat. So wherever you're at, if you want to try it one more time, go for it. Pamela and I are going to set up elephant, which is on your bum. So you're like, yes. Cross your legs, come onto your biscuits. And we'll extend a leg out in front of you. So you're going to take your right hand to your left foot. Right hand, left foot, it's leverage to hook the left elbow under. Yep. So as you plant that palm and you flex the toes, right palm plants right next to you. Lean a little forward, and then we're going to lift. Flex that front ankle, flex toes. Awesome, 3-ish, 2-ish, and come on down. You can stick with the same side. We'll go straight for the 8 angle. Either you're going to stick with elephant, and you can hop up and down. Maybe you lift your butt, then you lift the heel, and then you lift them both. Or we're going for Ashtavakasana. I don't know how they come up with these. I guess there's lots of angles, but for me, I tend to be in just like one big blob. So here we go. Same thing, right hand, left foot. Left elbow under, plant palms and lean forward. Draw the belly up and in. As you lift, we're bringing the left foot over, right foot over the left. Bend the elbows. You got to bend the elbows. Bring your face towards the mat. Extend the legs. And squeeze, 87. Nice job, and then come out. So depending on what you're up to afterwards, I'm going to invite you to take a little bit of time to bring your heart rate down. I'm going to have Pamela just come onto her back and a little bit of Viparita Karani or Shavasana, whatever she sees fit. Same with you. If you are off to something energetic, adventurous, maybe you just take a moment for yourself and then you're off and out the door. If you are heading towards some rest, maybe you revisit some half pigeon or hang out a little bit longer in your Shavasana. But wherever you are, as always, making sure you are making this your practice. I hope you guys enjoyed this week, destroying some of these postures, having a little bit of fun. And you just want to take those moments of lightness. Whether you found them right before you went over sideways or as you were plopping back to your mat, just hints of that inner child which still exist, right? It's not too often in our adult days that we get to be upside down and work with balance and fall over, all these little fun things. You know, but if for nothing else, then moments of just being completely centered and in your body and not thinking about the rest of your day, then brilliant. It's one of my favorite parts of this practice, and certainly one of my favorite parts of arm balances and inversions. But wherever you are, I'm going to invite you to come gently to seated, just with little bits of gratitude. Even the mere fact that we are able to attempt any of these. All right. Whether you have all four limbs, heart's beating, lungs are working, all the good things we forget about. Right, it's so easy to focus on all the things that don't go wrong in our day or aren't going in our favor, but focus on what is. Okay, palms to heart center, coming back to ourselves, and coming back to intuition. Thumb knuckles to the third eye, just your forehead center. With so much respect for this practice, each other, we bow and we say, Namaste. And we will see you soon. Toodles.